Earlier, I spoke to Mike Turner, chair of the House Intelligence Committee and a Republican congressman from Ohio. Chairman, you've been speaking about nuclear deterrence and capabilities today, and we'll get to matters in space in just a moment. But first, when you look at the cosy relationship that we've seen between Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin this week, what goes through your mind? What's your first thought?
Well, my concern obviously is that this now a visualization of a relationship between Russia and North Korea that largely was there previously. But what it signals is sort of the elevation of Kim Jong-un and North Korea. As you know, they previously have been under UN sanctions for being a pariah state, for breaking the non-proliferation nuclear treaties and, forcibly going into a very extensive nuclear weapons program that threatens not only Asia, but also even the continental United States. And so that sort of legitimizes North Korea and Kim Jong-un by having Putin stand there with him and publicly announcing a cooperative military alliance.
Now, you've been warning about Russia's nuclear anti-satellite weapons. What do you know about what their capabilities are?
Well, the administration has made it public that Russia is developing a nuclear anti-satellite weapon, and authorities at the Pentagon have publicly stated that such a weapon would be catastrophic. Dr. Plum from Department of Defense indicated that such a weapon, if detonated, would indiscriminately decimate all satellites in low Earth orbit and would make that orbit unpopulatable within likely up to a year, which means we would not even be able to replace satellites. That means that even the technology that you and I are utilizing right now for viewers would be unable to be accessed. Communications, our economic fabric, our international security fabric, all would be impacted by the detonation of such a weapon.
There is, though, a UN treaty that's supposed to protect against such matters.
Right. The United Nations entered into a treaty in 1967, which the signatories being the United States, UK, and Russia, where they pledged that they would not put nuclear weapons or weapons of mass destruction in space. Russia obviously would be violating that. The United States had gone to the United Nations Security Council and asked for a reaffirmation of that treaty, and Russia vetoed that action, obviously signaling of their intentions to place a weapon in space. Now, what's most critical about this is that if that weapon were permitted to go into orbit, really day one, it would be disruptive of all of our systems without even being detonated, because we would the very next day, which General Saltzman of Space Command has referred to as day zero, be unable to count on space. So we will have to put together, configure, and implement infrastructure that without space to be able to accomplish what we're doing now. And currently, there just is no solution to do so.
So what do you see as the solution?
This administration needs to declassify the status of this program. When they say they're developing, it could be a drawing on on a board, or it could be all the way through where they have nuclear warheads and they have a satellite. The administration needs to let the world know, because pressure needs to be placed on Russia so that this satellite is never permitted to go into space. I think the United States and NATO should join together and claim the mantle of enforcement of the United Nations anti-nuclear weapons in space treaty. And we should ensure that really what is the fabric today of Western economic society is not put in a vulnerable position.
And has the administration shared any of this information with you in your role as chairman of the House Intelligence Committee?
So let me just say this. I believe that the administration has the information that would inform the debate worldwide, and that's why I'm calling them to step forward to engage in that discussion and work to impact the outcome here and stop this satellite from being put in space.
I just want to ask you about another matter today. There's quite tough talk being exchanged between Israel and the US at the moment, between Prime Minister Netanyahu and the White House. How would you categorize the status of US-Israeli relations at this point in time?
Well, I think they're suffering from the fact that the administration is double talking. They're claiming to one group that they're diminishing their support for Israel, and then, of course, Israel looking to, well, that support must be being diminished, and then countering to Israel that they fully behind them and they're not lessened at all their support. I think the administration needs to pick a side and stay there.
Do you think should arms sales be paused to Israel?
I think that Israel has a right to defend itself, and currently their goal of eliminating Hamas has not yet been achieved, and I think we should continue to support that goal and objective.
If the administration, though, is asking Israel to pay more attention to how and where and who it's bombing, to take greater care of civilians, to let more humanitarian aid in, and Israel is not doing that, what other options are there open to the administration to try and persuade Israel, influence Israel?
Well, I think the administration has made that demand on Israel. I think Israel has been responding. You don't have a situation where the administration is specifically saying that Israel is doing X, Y, and Z, and therefore we're going to look at our overall support. I think that it's been a continuation of the United States working with Israel and trying to identify Hamas, and I think certainly the United States has made it very clear that the Palestinians risks to civilians are of our utmost importance, including humanitarian aid.